Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode right here on Revv Inspiration. Over the last couple of years, we have seen the rise of storage facilities appearing all over Singapore. And one of the reasons being due to strong e-commerce demand, which has retailers and small vendors renting storage space to store their goods, and lots more of other reasons. And joining us on this episode of Revv Inspiration to give us better insight of this is someone who is no stranger to the storage arena. Let's go meet him now. Yes folks, and we are back. And before I formally introduce my guest, let me give you some background information about him. He is the co-founder and CEO of Asia's largest tech-friendly self-storage operator and space solution provider. He's also a founding member of the Self-Storage Association in Asia, whose mission is to align and to coordinate storage operators' interests with consumer engagement and compliance. We want to say a big welcome to Mr. Jes Johansen. So Jes, can you tell us a bit more about Storefriendly?
I can talk for a long time about Storefriendly. Storefriendly is a self-storage company, plus I would say it is a space solutions venture really. What we do is we've grown from a traditional self-storage operator that gives space to residential private customers and commercial customers, and also to a further more enhanced space solutions provider. We give solutions to small businesses. We have a lot of small businesses in Singapore these days that need a bit more space to operate their businesses, growing out of their homes and having a bit of an elevated or an expanded requirement.
Right. Okay. So just the storage industry is really it's just so many questions I can ask you, but I think some of the questions that the viewers out there really want to know is things like, okay, first of all, what led you to the storage industry? Of all industries, why storage?
Yeah, so for me it happened, it was fate, that you run into people and opportunities appear. Right. In my case, I ran into a guy who was doing supply services to the self-storage industry, and we struck up a relationship, and I worked with him for a while, and then I saw that there was an opportunity for the self-storage industry to develop in a new way, and I took that solution up with some of my customers back then, and they didn't quite see it the same way.
Right.
And as often happens, your entrepreneurial journey starts when you have to do it yourself. Nobody else wants to do it, so you got to do it yourself, and that's what happened with me.
Right. So when I first met you back in, was it maybe 12 years ago? That was the very first storage space you had in Singapore. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we started in Singapore in 2011.
Right. Okay.
We expanded quite quickly, and in the first iteration of our business, we were a franchised business, and ultimately we bought out the franchisees and sold on the business as a self-operated business. Right. But that owner then said, well, we already have a brand, and they wanted to keep the business but not the brand.
I get it.
So we took back the Storefriendly brand in Singapore and restarted the business, and this time with a more modern and more wholesome approach.
Right.
So we introduced new technologies, and we decided to go and buy the buildings in which we operate.
Right. Okay. And my next question is, it's two questions in one basically. Why do people need storage solutions, and what kind of people use storage solutions?
It's you, me, and everyone, Renee. We all need a bit more space.
Okay.
In particular in a place like Singapore, where we just don't have enough space in our lives.
Exactly.
And it's really the same for all over Asia and all over the world, really. It's not efficient to use your living room or your bedrooms for box storage, right?
Totally
Let us take all that stuff, and you live your life in the space where you actually live. So we're one of those providers that help you through an extension of our service, that you get a better life out of it.
And also, as I mentioned at the beginning of my video, where with the boom in e-commerce, right, you see a lot of these entrepreneurs who they have so much of stuff which they buy, they need a space to actually store it. So are those some of your customers as well?
Absolutely, and they don't just need to store it, they need to work from there or supplying other services other than just the storage. They need to promote it through a studio setup with live streaming setups and sound isolation, insulation, etc. They need to have packaging facilities, alignment with last mile delivery people. They need to have meeting rooms, and if they can get a cup of coffee while they're there also, then they'd like to do that.
Right. And I think my next question is going to hit on those things which you just mentioned about. I hear that Storefriendly also now has expanded offerings besides storage space as well. Business storage or workspaces and hot desking services. Maybe those people out there who might want to set up a desk might want might have more information about that one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We see also residential customers, but a lot of small businesses, they need more than what they can get at home.
Right.
And they don't need a fixed solution for a long time that you need to do with an office tenancy or a warehouse tenancy. And they need a hybrid model between the two with a flexible interpretation of that product. And they come to Storefriendly and say, okay, you have what we need. You got the meeting rooms, you got the hot desk, you got the storage facilities, you got the space to interact with people, you got the security, everything is air-conned. And if my business if it doesn't work after a few months, then I can get out of it without too much trouble, which you can't with a long-term tenancy.
And you also forgot to mention you have coffee. I remember seeing that corner of the pantry where you have your coffee set up.
Sure. We got good coffees.
Right, exactly.
Sometimes we also got something a bit extra, but also on special days.
Right. Okay, and Jes, I hear that technology also now plays a big part in Storefriendly, and I hear that you have robots in use, right? Can you tell us a bit more about that one?
Absolutely. We call them GoBots. So these are GoBots that go under the storage units.
Right.
It allows us to better use the space at our disposal. So our innovation efforts are focused on driving a better efficiency of the space we have at our disposal. So we can really improve the space for active storage use by up to a third. And of course that gives us a great saving or a great efficiency advantage, and we pass that on to the customer.
Right. And I hear your robots have names, right?
We call him Gary.
Gary, I remember. I remember you were telling me that there's I think 3 of them. There's Gary and a few.
Oh, we got 5. They're all called Gary.
Really?
So I don't know which one is Gary 1 and Gary 2. Gary.
Yeah, I remember it was like Gary. Okay. So my final question is, how do you think this industry will look in maybe a decade from now?
So it will continue to evolve with more technology, whether that is in the execution of the product or in the access to it virtually. The security element will continue to enhance. There will be also newer product offerings in terms of horizontal or vertical space efficiency, that kind of thing. At the end, people will need space. In 10 years' time, there will be more people than ever, and they will certainly need an even better storage and space efficiency product.
And also workspace solutions.
For sure.
All right, Jes. And for those people out there, how do they find out more about Storefriendly, and how many locations do we have here in Singapore?
So we have now 8 locations in Singapore, and we will soon have 15 up to 20, give it a couple of years. Find us on the web, Storefriendly website, obviously storefriendly.com.sg. Find us on YouTube, find us on Facebook.
Right.
Wherever you look for stuff, we'll be there.
Right. Okay, we want to say a big thank you once again to Jes for coming on board and giving us all this information on Storefriendly. If you need to find out more information, or even maybe if you have more questions about Storefriendly, don't hesitate to either drop them a message, or you can even drop myself Rennie, and I'll make sure they get the messages as well. So on behalf of Revv, we want to say a big thank you to Jes for joining us right here on Revv Inspiration, and we're going to say a big thank you once again to Jes for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.